Dreamworks is my favorite animation studio, and especially because of the villains, the baddies from the Shrekverse to How to Train Your Dragon to Kung Fu Panda. So let's rank them all from least guilty to pure demon material.
I have come home, Master.
Ogres don't live happily ever after!
Bring out the Black Mamba.
51st, Death. Let's kick things off with the biggest poser of them all, Lobo, aka Death himself. This dude rolls up to the party, sickles gleaming, whistling a tune that'll make your soul shiver, all to tell Puss in Boots, "Yo, your 9 lives are up!" And for a hot minute, he's terrifying, right? I am Death, straight up, chills. He's stalking Puss, giving him full-blown panic attacks, even setting up a fiery Ring of Death duel. He loves the smell of fear, which is like super creepy, but apparently not illegal. But then, after all that menacing, all that psychological torture, all that build-up, Puss has a change of heart, and Death just leaves. He literally lets his one target walk away because the cat had a little character development. All that drama, all that fear for a life lesson? Seriously, dude, this guy is the definition of all bark, no bite. For his so-called crimes, we're giving him a high five and a warning. Pathetic. Get a real job, Death. 50. Goldilocks and the Three Bears crime family. Next on our list of shame, it's the most cringeworthy crew of convicts you've ever seen. The Goldilocks and the Three Bears crime family. And leading this train wreck is Goldie, a 20-year-old orphan having a full-blown identity crisis. This girl drags her adoptive bear family on a wild goose chase for a wishing star, racking up a rap sheet that's more embarrassing than threatening. We're talking 2 counts of trespassing, Mama Luna's cat sanctuary, then Big Jack Horner's pie factory. Real high stakes, guys. They try intimidation, but Papa Bear playing the piano is more charming than scary. Let's be real. Then there's 6 counts of assault, mostly from brawling over a map, plus a side of property destruction and reckless endangerment. Their biggest hit is a combo meal of stalking and grand larceny for trying to swipe the map from Puss, and they're bickering the entire time. Baby Bear constantly reminds Goldie she's an orphan while she's trying to run a heist and look for her birth parents on Ancestry.com. She's a criminal mastermind who can't even get her own life just right. In the end, she blows her one wish to save her brother, proving she was never about that life. For being the lamest crime family in fairy tale history, they get 48 years plus a $304,000 fine plus a restraining order. Stay out of our forests. 49th, Guy Garnier. All right, listen up, because this next one is a certified clown show. We're talking about the supposed 5-time Indy 500 champion, the legend, the icon, Guy Gagné. This dude has it all. Fame, fortune, and an ego so massive it needs its own pit crew. He starts off looking all charismatic and passionate, right? But the second a garden snail with NOS for blood shows up, he melts down faster than an ice cream cone in July. His entire villain arc is just him being a petty, insecure, sore loser. For most of the movie, he's just a poster boy. But then Turbo dares to qualify for the Indy 500, and Guy loses his mind. He tells Turbo dreamers have to wake up, and then proceeds to become a menace on the track. His criminal record? Short, but oh so pathetic, cheating and reckless driving. In the final lap, with Turbo about to make history, Guy deliberately causes a massive pileup, taking out most of the other racers. That's attempted murder over a trophy. He then drags his wrecked car across the track, trying to physically crush a snail under his boot. A snail! This is a grown man having a complete mental breakdown because he's about to be beaten by an invertebrate. For his crimes against sportsmanship and snail kind, Guy Garnier gets slapped with a $7 million fine plus a lifetime F1 ban. Enjoy retirement, you absolute fraud. 48. Capitaine Chantal Dubois. Make way for the most terrifying, unhinged, and downright indestructible public servant in animated history, Capitaine Chantal Dubois. Her origin story alone tells you everything. As a child, she was out there strangling parrots, flushing goldfish, and punching snakes. Her life's mission? Capturing Alex the lion, a goal she pursues with psychotic single-mindedness. Her crime spree across Europe is legendary. The Monte Carlo chase? Not just reckless driving, it's a full-on demolition derby. She treats international borders like suggestions, racking up 3 counts of illegal border crossing. She steals a police scooter in Rome, grand theft auto, only to immediately crash it. Then, she resists arrest with the force of a small army and escapes by singing a patriotic French song that revives her incapacitated henchman. What in the actual heck is she? She commits battery like it's going out of style and trespassing like she owns every building. This woman can break through concrete, sniff out a trail like a wolf, and survive stuff that would flatline a normal human. And why? All for poaching and animal cruelty. She wants that lion head for her trophy wall, and she'll burn down a continent to get it. After getting shot out of a cannon and ambushing a zoo, she finally gets tranquilized in the butt. For her relentless reign of terror, Capitaine Dubois gets 29 years, a $5,138,000 fine, and a one-way trip to Madagascar in a shipping crate. Poetic justice served. 47. The bad guys. Oh look, it's a crew of apex predators who are so feared, so notorious, they're known simply as the bad guys. They roll deep with Mr. Wolf, the suave leader, Mr. Snake, the grumpy safecracker, Mr. Shark, the master of ridiculous disguises, Mr. Piranha, the short king with an attitude, and Ms. Tarantula, the hacker queen. These chumps have 14 counts of straight-up thievery. Ms. Tarantula's racked up hacking charges like they're free V-Bucks. And the whole gang is guilty of ID fraud thanks to Mr. Shark's grandma costume. Driving charges, fleeing from police, assault and battery. They've got it all, but they're total posers. These apex predators spend more time bickering over popsicles and dealing with Mr. Piranha's stress farts than actually being bad. The second Mr. Wolf gets a tiny dopamine hit from a good deed, their entire criminal empire crumbles faster than my hopes and dreams of hitting 10 million subs. When they finally face Professor Marmalade, they're so outmatched, they gotta become heroes. What a joke. For their legendary, yet hilariously pathetic crime spree. The bad guys are sentenced to 445 years plus $766,340 plus points off their license. Don't worry, they'll get out on good behavior if they can stop arguing about who gets the last chip. Smash that like button. 46th. Hrix. Here comes Hrix, the dollar store poacher from Spirit Untamed. This dude tries to pull a fast one, acting all chivalrous, saving a girl from a train. Psych. He's just a greasy bargain bin horse thief whose master plan looks like it was sketched on a dirty napkin during a coffee break. His big evil scheme, mass animal abuse. He wants to round up Spirit's entire herd and sell them off to work them to death. What a monster. And for what exactly? Being a glorified wrangler with a bad attitude and a haircut that screams, "I regret everything." This clown and his goons actually manage to snag the horses, but guess what? They get completely owned by 3 literal children on ponies. He gets the drop on our heroes, but instead of finishing the job, he gets distracted. Like, did he see a shiny object? What a noob. He's feeling all tough on the shore, about to attack, and bam, he gets absolutely rocked in the head with an oar by Lucky's aunt. Then, to add insult to injury, a little girl lassos him and has her horse drag him through the dirt. For his pathetic attempt at villainy and attempted child murder, he gets hit with life plus 0.4 years. That's not even a full year, folks. Weak sauce. 45. Vontra. Next up, get ready to meet the most terrifying HR manager in the entire universe. The Virtual Observational Neutralizing Troublesome Retrieval Authority, or as I like to call her, Vontra. This floating, spiky ball of corporate evil pops up all bubbly and sweet. "Oh, hello, Roz. Just here for routine maintenance." Don't believe her lies. This is bureaucracy personified, a machine that thinks compassion is a bug. Vontra is unfeeling, inflexible, and morally neutral, which is robot speak. For I'm a complete psycho and I love it. She immediately commits massive environmental crimes by self-destructing her drones and setting the entire forest on fire just to get one rogue robot. Animal cruelty, endangerment. Who cares about fuzzy animals when you're a ruthless corporate drone, right? Then she pulls a full-blown kidnapping, tractor-beaming Roz and strapping her into a machine for forced memory theft. We're talking a high-tech lobotomy to make her a compliant employee again. When Brightbill tries a rescue, Vontra instantly flips the switch to full attempted murder mode. For her crimes against nature, robots, and everything decent, Vontra gets sentenced to life, plus 31.25 years, plus $1,151,000. May she rust in peace. 44th Dwayne. The Verminator, La Fontante. Alright, let's talk about the most over-the-top, unhinged, and frankly obsessive pest control specialist in animated history, Dwayne The Verminator, La Fontante. This dude treats a suburban backyard like it's a Call of Duty war zone. His methods? Straight up criminal. We're talking illegal weapon possession because this psycho rolls up with the Doppler Turbo, a trap so powerful it's banned everywhere. His wild crusade against a raccoon, a turtle, and a skunk racks up charges faster than my kill streaks. He's constantly committing animal cruelty, not to mention the insane property damage he causes. This guy is so laser-focused, he can't even tell the difference between a real bunny and his client's fuzzy slippers, leading to him trapping his own paying customer. And when the actual cops show up because, you know, he's setting up illegal traps in a neighborhood, what does this master of stealth do? He tries fleeing arrest and gets immediately taken down by a Rottweiler biting his leg. Oof, for his reign of suburban terror, we're hitting him with a sentence as ridiculous as he is. 2.5 years plus a whopping $100 million fine. That's a lot of cash for a guy who got owned by a poodle. 43. Makunga. Step right up and feast your eyes on the lion with the ego of a god and the leadership skills of a doorknob. The one, the only, Makunga. This dude, seriously, thinks he's hot stuff just because he's got better hair. Like, bro, you're a lion, not a supermodel. His whole dream? To be king, but not because he's smart or strong. Nah, he just wants everyone to do what he says. He's basically that one annoying kid in school who always picks fights and then gets his butt handed to him. 2 counts of battery because he can't keep his paws to himself. And his master plan? To trick poor city slicker Alex into a rigged fight. That's how he gets the crown, by being a slimy cheater. But guess what? When this clown finally gets the throne, a drought hits, and his brilliant solution is, let's fight for water. Genius. Then he gets totally owned by Nana, an old lady, who kicks him in the crotch, gives him a wet willy, and drags him off by the ear. This dude got hit with death plus 1 year. Honestly, he's probably Nana's new throw rug. And you know what? He deserves it. 42. Vincent. Oh man, look at this guy. It's Vincent, the big scary black bear whose entire villain arc is based on a snack heist gone wrong. His whole world comes crashing down when his so-called buddy, RJ the raccoon, tries to make off with his winter hibernation stash of junk food. And Vincent's reaction is not what you'd call chill. His first move is straight-up coercion, threatening to turn RJ into a furry speed bump unless he replaces every last spuddy, every stolen chip, and the precious blue cooler. This snack-fueled rage leads to 2 counts of second-degree attempted murder. The first time is when he catches RJ red-handed, and the second is when he comes back for revenge and tries to take out not just RJ, but his entire found family of woodland critters. This bear is a hedonist, a glutton, and a short-tempered beast who will literally try to kill you over a can of potato chips. He ends up getting tangled in helium balloons, floating away like a sad, furry parade float of failure, and then gets zapped by the Doppler Turbo, losing all his fur. For his crimes against snack kind and public safety, Vincent gets 2 life sentences plus 5 years. Enjoy your prison gruel, pal. Hope it tastes like disappointment. 41st. Humpty Dumpty. Behold, the world's most fragile villain, the egg with an ego, the one and only Humpty Alexander Dumpty. This egg's entire tragic villain arc. His best bud, Puss in Boots, became famous and he felt left out. Seriously. So, what does he do? He pulls off a classic bank robbery, but he tricks Puss into being his unwitting accomplice, turning his own brother into an outlaw. That's not just betrayal, that's some next-level awards-worthy manipulation. From there, his quest for magic beans turns into a full-blown crime spree. We're talking trespassing in a giant's castle, grand larceny of a golden goose, multiple counts of assault, and straight-up stalking. But his grand finale? He plans an act of citywide terrorism, intending to lure the Great Terror to obliterate his hometown, all just to make Puss feel as lonely as he did. This egg is so broken inside, he wants to shatter the whole world. In the end, he sacrifices himself, proving he had a golden heart. But that doesn't excuse years of evil scheming. The court saw right through his last-minute good deed and sentenced him to death plus 54 years plus $252,000 plus a restraining order. Rest in pieces, you magnificent, manipulative omelette. 40. Francis. Let's talk about the baby who got booted and came back for revenge. Francis. This dude's origin story is so laughably petty, you won't believe it. He was the big boss at Baby Corp, living the dream until they found out he was lactose intolerant, so they fired him. Instead of, switching to almond milk, Francis dedicated his entire adult life to a diabolical revenge plot against his former employer. He grows up, starts a rival company, Puppy Cabot, and unleashes a corporate crime wave that's both brilliant and absolutely insane. He starts with false imprisonment, trapping Tim and Boss Baby, then he commits grand larceny, stealing the secret formula that keeps babies smart. But his masterpiece? The Forever Puppy, a weapon of mass cuteness. He plans to launch a rocket full of puppies that never age, stealing all the love in the world from babies. This plan involves massive property destruction, 7 counts of child endangerment, and probably some serious jaywalking. When Tim's parents get in the way, he literally straps them to a rocket, ready to burn them to a crisp. That's second-degree attempted murder, all because of a tummy ache. He gets defeated when Tim and Boss Baby tickle him and push him into a vat of the formula, turning him back into a baby. A fittingly humiliating end for a villain whose motives were basically a giant corporate temper tantrum. For his crimes against babies, puppies, and common sense, Francis gets hit with 2 life sentences plus 74 years plus a fine of $4,250. Go to your crib, you maniac. 39th Lady Doppler. From the rainy streets of Who Caresville, it's Lady Doppler and the rest of the Doom Syndicate. These clowns broke out of jail, ready to link up with their old buddy Megamind and get back to being evil, right? Wrong. Megamind's a hero now, and these guys are as relevant as a Blockbuster membership. Their entire crime spree is just a sad, desperate attempt to prove they still got it, but they are so bad at it. They actually escape custody not once, but twice. I guess that's like their one accomplishment. They put up a pathetic fight, earning a measly resist arrest charge. They decide to commit terrorism by launching Metro City to the moon. Why? Who even knows? It's the kind of nonsensical, over-the-top nonsense only a group of villains stuck in the Silver Age could dream up. They even try for attempted murder, but they're so focused on their dumb moon plot, they can't even get that right. They didn't get taken down by the Justice League. They got owned by Megamind, his talking fish, a reporter, and a super fan named Keiko. The fan club took them out for their crimes of being utterly lame and trying to ruin Megamind's glow-up. The Doom Syndicate gets a whopping 3 life sentences plus 4.25 years. Maybe they can finally form that prison book club they always dreamed of. 38th. The Colonel. Here he is. The man with the magnificent mustache and zero tolerance for freedom. The Colonel. This dude is the living, breathing, terrifying embodiment of manifest destiny. A calm, calculating, and absolutely ruthless commander who believes the Wild West will be won through pure domination. And when a wild, untamable stallion named Spirit shows up, oh, it's on. The Colonel takes that as a personal insult to his entire existence. He kicks things off with false imprisonment, snatching up not just Spirit, but also the Lakota warrior, Little Creek. Then it's on to soul-crushing animal cruelty, tying Spirit to a post for 3 days without food or water just to break his spirit. But his true villainy shines when he leads a surprise raid on the Lakota village. That's terrorism, folks. A straight-up attack on men, women, and children. In that raid, he shoots and nearly kills the mayor, Rain, adding a murder charge to his already grim rap sheet. He is relentless, bigoted, and sees anything wild and free as something to be conquered or destroyed. The only reason he's not higher on this list is for one tiny, fleeting moment at the end. After Spirit makes an impossible leap across a canyon, the Colonel, for the first time, shows a flicker of respect and lets him go. For his crimes against nature, humanity, and freedom itself, the court sentences him to death, plus life, plus 4.5 years. Dismissed. 37th. Don Lino. Over here. It's Don Lino, the great white shark who runs the reef like it's the Jersey Shore. This great white shark runs his underwater empire like a classic mob movie, complete with family drama, loyalty tests, and a whole lot of sleeping with the fishes, literally. He's constantly using battery and criminal threats to keep his operation running smoothly. He's a master of blackmail, squeezing poor Sykes at the whale wash for every penny. And he's not above a little stalking to keep tabs on his enemies. But Don Lino's biggest problem isn't a rival mob family, it's his own kids. He's got one son, Frankie, who's a natural-born killer, and his other son, Lenny, is a vegetarian shark. This existential crisis for Lino sends him into a spiral of rage and disappointment. When he thinks that Oscar, a tiny, fast-talking fish, whacked his son Frankie, he goes on an all-out warpath, racking up 2 murder charges in his quest for vengeance. He even resorts to taking a hostage, kidnapping poor Angie to force a sit-down with the Shark Slayer. This dude only redeems himself when he finally accepts his son for the dolphin-impersonating, shrimp-loving shark that he is. For his life of organized crime and questionable parenting, Don Lino gets 3 life sentences plus 9.25 years plus $250,000. Now that's an offer he can't refuse. 36, Jack and Jill. Get a load of these two, Jack and Jill, a husband and wife team of outlaws who are just more walking health code violations. They roll through the desert in a pig-filled cart, looking like they haven't seen a bar of soap since the Dark Ages, and their personalities are even filthier. They are diabolical, violent, and just plain mean. They're sitting on multiple murder charges because of course they are. Their primary method of negotiation is intimidation and the dangerous use of firearms. They're not above a little coercion and have racked up 2 counts of assault, but they're not even masterminds. They're just hired muscle, the dim-witted thugs working for the real brains of the operation, Humpty Dumpty. They were his minions, his goons, his disposable muscle. And even then, they're too greedy and traitorous to stay loyal. They plan to betray Humpty and keep the golden goose for themselves, proving that there's absolutely no honor among these thieves. They get their comeuppance when they're taken down by Kitty Softpaws and then unceremoniously stomped on by the Great Terror. We last see them in full-body casts, probably still smelling terrible. For their life of violent, traitorous, and unhygienic crime, Jack and Jill are sentenced to 4 life sentences, plus 17 years, plus $5.99, plus a restraining order against all pigs and magic beans. Good riddance to bad rubbish. 35th, Taiong. Bow before the sheer rage of the one, the only, Taiong. This snow leopard is what happens when you raise a prodigy on nothing but praise and then yank the rug out from under him at the last second. This dude was the golden child of the Jade Palace, Shifu's pride and joy, the warrior who mastered 1,000 scrolls of Kung Fu. He believed with every fiber of his being that he was destined to be the Dragon Warrior. But then, an old turtle named Oogway took one look into his soul and said, "Nah, fam, you got too much darkness in there." And boy, was he right. Taiong's reaction wasn't to self-reflect or meditate. It was to throw the biggest, most destructive tantrum in the history of China. His pride shattered. He went on a warpath, a one-leopard campaign of pure terrorism, laying waste to the entire Valley of Peace. This dude racked up a charge of mass murder just because his feelings got hurt. After spending 20 years in the most ridiculously inescapable prison ever designed, his first act of freedom is, you guessed it, escaping custody in the most epic way possible, using a single goose feather to pick a lock made of acupuncture needles. That's talent. He then immediately goes on a rampage, single-handedly demolishing the Furious Five with his signature nerve attack, which adds a whopping 7 assault charges to his record. His whole motivation is to commit grand larceny and steal the Dragon Scroll, and he is fully prepared to add another murder charge to his list by taking out anyone who stands in his way, including his own adoptive father, Shifu. All he ever wanted was to hear his dad say he was proud, but his insecurity turned him into a force of nature. For his lifetime of rage and his catastrophic emotional breakdown, Taiong is sentenced to death plus 2. Life sentences plus 23 years. Maybe in the spirit realm, he can finally get the therapy he so desperately needs. 34. The Fairy Godmother. Forget your bibbidi-bobbidi-boos, because this Fairy Godmother is all about business, blackmail, and cold, hard cash. This woman is not here to grant wishes. She's here to run a magical protection racket from her industrial-size potion factory, a place that looks less like a fairy tale and more like a sweatshop for underpaid elves. She presents herself as a benevolent, wish-granting being, but underneath the sparkles and the show tunes, she is a conniving, prejudiced, and power-hungry corporate tyrant. Her entire business model is built on intimidation and coercion. She has King Harold wrapped around her little finger, constantly reminding him that she's the reason he's a king and not a frog. And she can take it all away with a flick of her wand. That's blackmail. Her ultimate goal is pure nepotism. Get her pretty boy son, Prince Charming, married to Fiona so she can control the kingdom. When Shrek and his crew get in her way, she doesn't hesitate to slap them with 4 counts of false imprisonment, having them arrested and thrown in jail. And when her plan to use a love potion on Fiona is about to fail, she goes for a straight-up attempted murder, trying to vaporize Shrek with a bolt of pure magical energy. This woman is a ruthless, manipulative, and incredibly spiteful businesswoman who genuinely believes that ogres don't get a happily ever after. She's a magical menace whose reign of terror only ended when her own spell backfired, turning her into a pile of bubbles and regret. For her crimes against fairy tale creatures and her flagrant abuse of magical power, the Fairy Godmother gets 4 life sentences plus 24 years. Now that's a happily ever after she didn't see coming. 33. Zara. Meet Dr. Zara, the zoologist who looks sweet and caring on the outside, but is a stone-cold psycho on the inside. This woman is the ultimate wolf in sheep's clothing. She rolls up with this calm, sweet, timid personality, pretending to be a passionate animal lover who just wants to study rare creatures for their own good. She fools everyone. Her entire public persona is a lie, a work of criminal art that gets her a charge of ID fraud. Her real obsession is capturing and killing a yeti for medical research. This woman is a walking disaster, putting everyone in danger with 5 counts of endangerment. She's not above bribing witnesses or straight up poisoning her own benefactor, Mr. Burnish, just to get him out of the way. Her animal cruelty is off the charts, but that's just the appetizer. This queen of crime is a cold-blooded killer, racking up 4 separate murder charges. When she finally snags Eris the Yeti, she reveals her true twisted plan. Kill the creature and the innocent kids who helped him. Talk about greed and psychopathy cranked to 11. In her final desperate attempt to kill Everest, she accidentally triggers a massive avalanche, and the very mountain she messed with takes her down. You can't escape karma, Zara. For a life of lies, cruelty, and murder, Zara gets 4 life sentences plus 40.5 years plus a $22,500 fine. Get wrecked. 32. Flippy. From the depths of a dingy fishbowl to citywide chaos, give it up for the telekinetic terror, the fish with a vendetta, Flippy. This dude started his life getting bullied, called Fatty Fishface. But then, he accidentally scarfs down a whole container of super brain dots, and suddenly, this sad little guppy has god-tier telekinetic powers. And what's the first thing he does? Revenge. He kicks off his crime spree with full-blown terrorism, robbing pet stores not for cash, but for those little plastic treasure chests he thinks are real money. Then, after being frozen solid and brought back to life with robotic parts by Pety the Cat, Flippy comes back with a vengeance. Programmed to destroy all good guys, he unleashes a second wave of terrorism, this time bringing an entire building to life to go on a rampage. The property destruction is insane. He then has the audacity to kidnap the adorable Lil Pete, planning to use his pure heart for some evil scheme. That's how you get hit with reckless endangerment and aggravated assault. And in the grand finale, he tries to drop Petey into a volcano. That's attempted murder. And how was this weaponized fish defeated, you ask? By the power of friendship and literacy. Lil Petey shows him a wholesome comic book, and Flippy suddenly feels emotions again. You can't make this stuff up. For his crimes against the city, and for just being a weaponized fish, Flippy gets 2 death sentences plus life, plus 26 years, plus a $500,000 fine. Take that, Flippy. Back to the fishbowl with you. 31st Lord Farquad. Listen up, peasants, and behold the most insecure ruler in all of Duloc, Lord Farquad. This tiny terror is so desperate for a crown, he'd literally marry an ogre if it meant being king. Talk about a Napoleon complex, so severe his castle is offensively tall just to make him feel bigger. This guy is a ruthless, egotistical, iron-fisted ruler who kicks off his reign with an act of attempted genocide, kicking every single fairy tale creature out of his perfect kingdom, because apparently they're cluttering the place. And how does he get his information? Through torture, gleefully ripping the legs off a poor gingerbread man. And is he gonna risk his own perfectly coiffed head to rescue the princess he needs to marry? Heck no, he's a coward. He holds a tournament and forces Shrek to do his dirty work, which is basically false imprisonment with a side quest. And when he finally gets his princess and she turns into an ogre, his true colors shine. He's disgusted, rejects her, and immediately orders a murder charge on Shrek, sentencing him to be drawn and quartered while locking Fiona back in the tower. He illegally crowns himself, usurping the throne in the most dramatic way possible. His end is one of the most satisfying in cinema history, getting swallowed whole by a dragon. For his crimes against humanity, fairy tale creatures, and good taste, Lord Farquad is sentenced to 2 death sentences, plus 2 life sentences, plus 4 years. May he be digested in peace. 30. Pharaoh Ramesses II. Step aside, mortals, for the pharaoh of all pharaohs, Ramesses II. This dude grew up with Moses, racing chariots and living the good life. But the second his dad called him the weak link, his entire personality became a desperate attempt to prove him wrong. And how did he do that? By becoming one of the most stubborn, prideful, and destructive rulers in history. His entire kingdom is built on the backs of slaves, making him guilty of slavery on a biblical scale. When his long-lost brother Moses returns, sent by God himself to free the Hebrews, Ramesses has a choice. Be a compassionate leader, listen to reason, and avoid disaster. But nope, feeling betrayed and insecure, he doubles the slaves' workload out of pure, uncut spite. This single act of hubris unleashes the 10 plagues upon his own people. We're talking frogs, locusts, boils. That's reckless endangerment on a national level, all because he couldn't handle being wrong. His stubbornness leads directly to the final horrifying plague, mass infanticide, the death of every firstborn in Egypt, including his own son. And even after this unimaginable tragedy, after his heart is shattered, his pride still won't let him quit. He gives the Hebrews permission to leave and then immediately chases after them with his army, fully intending to commit attempted genocide at the edge of the Red Sea. His entire army gets wiped out by a wall of water, and he's left broken and alone on the shore. A pharaoh who lost his brother, his son, and his kingdom, all because he was too proud to be the weak link. For his catastrophic reign of terror, the court of the cosmos sentences Ramesses to 3 death sentences plus 4 years. What a tragic fall for a king who could have chosen brotherhood over a crown. 29. Chef. Next up, from the miserable grey pits of Bergentown, give it up for the culinary criminal, the gastronomic goblin, the one and only chef. This Bergen literally built her career on eating happiness. Imagine, her whole vibe was nom nom, joy is delicious. Then the trolls dipped and her life spiraled faster than a dropped hot dog. 20 years of bitter brooding, people. That's longer than some of you have been alive. She comes back, not for a promotion, but for straight up global domination. She pulls a fast one, snatching 258 trolls like their last minute snacks, racking up 270 counts of false imprisonment. This woman carries an entire civilization in a fanny pack. Her business model? Infanticide, like eat the kids, get happy. Then she teams up with that two-faced traitor Creek for a full-on conspiracy. And when Poppy and Branch try to stop her, she goes full murder mode. This chef is so far gone, she literally watches trolls prove happiness comes from within, and she's like, nah, I'd rather be miserable. For her culinary crimes against humanity and trolls, she gets 3 life sentences plus 1,901.25 years. And her final act, eaten by a monster with her lame sidekick. Sweet, sweet justice. Get wrecked, chef. 28. The Red Death. Prepare for the queen of all dragons, the colossal cannibalistic nightmare known as the Red Death. This ain't your grandma's dragon, folks. This is a living, breathing volcano with anger issues and an endless craving for lunch. She ran Dragon Island like a mob boss for centuries, literally enslaving thousands of other dragons with pure fear and mind control. Her whole empire was built on extortion, sending her dragon lackeys to steal from Bark. And if they failed, she ate them. That's right, she's a cannibal. We're talking at least 6 murder charges against her own kind. When the Vikings finally crashed her party, she unleashed pure hell. Massive arson, wiping out a whole fleet with one single blast. This beast is pure instinct and terror. For her reign of terror, the court dropped the hammer. 4 life sentences for humans, 3 life sentences for dragons, plus 15 years. And her epic demise. Blown up from the inside by Toothless. You got what you deserved, you monstrous menace. 27th Nerissa Crossnik. Alright, hold on to your magical amulets, because we're taking a weird dimensional detour to talk about a villain so epic she broke out of her own universe to get on this list. Please welcome the fallen guardian, the queen of the long con, Nerissa Crossnik. This witch was supposed to be a hero, but power turned her into a full-blown psycho. Her fall from grace started with a straight-up murder charge against her bestie, Cassidy. They tried to put her on ice, but you can't keep a good villain down. When she broke out, she started a multi-dimensional campaign of war crimes and terrorism for decades. This woman is a master of ID fraud, playing dress-up to mess with everyone's minds. Get this, she literally had a kid, Caleb, just to use him as a chess piece. Who does that? That's some serious villain dedication. She racked up massive property damage and even tried to off a king with attempted regicide. This queen of manipulation is patient, brilliant, and utterly ruthless. For her insane multiversal crime spree, the court threw the entire cosmic library at her. 3 death sentences, plus a life sentence, plus 15 years, plus a $125,000 fine. Get absolutely wrecked, Nerissa. You played yourself. 26. Militia Tweedy. Let's hear it for the farmer's wife from your worst nightmares. Militia Tweedy. This woman is straight up greedy, selfish, and her solution to a bad business day? Mass murder of chickens. She got a giant, terrifying, hellish machine to turn her underperforming assets into pie. We're talking 505 counts of animal cruelty. That's one for every tormented chicken on that farm. Her whole operation was a death trap of reckless endangerment. That pie machine was so unstable it exploded. And don't even get me started on her poor husband, Mr. Tweedy. She was constantly committing assault against him, throwing hot pies in his face. And the way she handled him, that's some straight up sexual assault. She literally smiles at the thought of slaughtering her chickens. When those chickens finally made their epic escape, she went full slasher movie psycho, chasing them with a giant axe. For her crimes against poultry and her husband, she got a sentence that's all over the place. But let's just say it involves 4 life sentences, a business shutdown, and a whole lot of years. She is, without a doubt, the most terrifying thing to ever come out of a chicken coop. Good riddance, Tweedy. 25th Lord Shen. Behold the prettiest, most psychotic peacock to ever grace the screen, Lord Shen. This guy ain't just fancy feathers, he's a full-blown psycho with serious mommy issues and a major grudge against pandas? Seriously, a soothsayer says a black and white warrior will take him down, and this genius decides the only logical step is genocide. Yeah, he tried to wipe out an entire species just because of a prophecy. Spoiler alert, it didn't work. He gets booted from his crib, but then he rolls back years later, armed with cannons, people, and a serious case of burglary and breaking and entering to reclaim his old pad. This dude racks up 4 murder charges against the OG Kung Fu masters, including the legendary Master Thundering Rhino. Then he straight up takes over the city. That's straight up terrorism. And don't forget the false imprisonment of dozens, 8 assault charges, and a couple of kidnapping charges for good measure. His grand finale? He accidentally cuts the rope to his own cannon, and it crushes him. Talk about a cell phone. This bird brain gets hit with 2 deaths plus 3 life sentences plus 122 years. Savage. 24th. Tippy Tinkle Trousers II. Prepare for the man with the silliest name and the most diabolical plan. Professor PP Poopy Pants, or Tippy Tinkle Trousers whatever. This dude is a certified Nobel Prize winner who went full supervillain because kids laughed at his name. Seriously? Instead of changing his name, he decides to go to war with laughter itself. What an absolute clown. He teams up with a tattletale kid, Melvin Sneedley, which is basically delinquency of a minor on steroids. They turn a freaking toilet, the Turbo Toilet 2000, into a city-destroying mech. That's illegal weapons and pure terrorism. He's causing massive property destruction and reckless endangerment with his giant porcelain monster. His master plan? To turn everyone into laughterless zombies. That's mass mutilation and false imprisonment for days. Plus, he's got theft, multiple assault charges, animal cruelty, and even torture on his rap sheet. They even even slapped him with littering for the mess he made, and he tried to kidnap George and Harold. This dude's evil is only matched by his absurdity. Captain Underpants shrinks him down with toxic waste, and this potty-mouthed professor gets slammed with death plus 3 life sentences plus 1,500, 3.25 years plus $252,080. Don't let the name fool you. This guy's a menace. 23. Zekelkan. Welcome to El Dorado, where the gold is plentiful and the high priest is absolutely bonkers. Meet Zekelkan, a religious zealot who is obsessed with human sacrifice. When 2 con artists, Tulio and Miguel, show up, this dude thinks they're gods. And what's his divine welcoming committee? A campaign of ritualistic murder. This guy's entire vibe is, let's throw people into a whirlpool. And when his gods tell him to chill, he gets genuinely confused. He's got 4 official murder charges for sacrificing his own people, and he was just getting started. When he realizes his gods are fakes, he commits high treason and decides to bring about the Age of the Jaguar himself. He performs a dark ritual, sacrifices his own acolyte, yeah, you heard that right, to bring a massive stone jaguar to life. Then he unleashes that beast on his own city, causing insane property destruction and straight-up assault everywhere in a furious attempt at genocide to purify the city. This dude is a manipulative, sadistic tyrant rocking a feathered hat, and after he gets banished, what's the first thing he does? He links up with Hernan Cortez to lead an army back to destroy the city. This guy never learns. For his crimes against fake gods and real humans, Zekelkan gets hit with 2 death sentences, plus 4 life sentences, plus 0.25 years, plus a $3 million fine. Boom. 22nd. Prince Charming. Here comes the man, the myth, the mama's boy. Prince Charming. This guy is the definition of a nepotism baby. In Shrek 2, he's just a pretty boy puppet for his mum, the Fairy Godmother. His big move? Identity fraud, pretending to be Shrek, and then trying a little sexual assault with a non-consensual magic potion kiss. Fiona headbutts him. Classic. But after his mob boss mom gets poofed, Charming decides it's his time to shine in Shrek 3. He goes from a joke to the leader of a full-blown rebellion. He rallies all the fairy tale rejects, Captain Hook, the Evil Queen, all the has-beens at the Poison Apple Tavern. This is pure coercion, leading to citywide terrorism, usurping the throne, and at least 12 counts of false imprisonment for locking up Fiona and her crew. He's got 4 attempted murder charges, trying to off both Shrek and the future King Arthur. He causes widespread assault, resulting in body harm during his hostile takeover. But the best part? His downfall. He puts on a huge play where he's the hero and Shrek roasts him mercilessly in front of everyone. This theater kid playing King is so blinded by his happily ever after delusion, he can't see he's the villain. His final act? Trying to stab Shrek, missing, and then getting crushed by a falling prop tower while whimpering, "Mommy!" For his crimes against the crown and just being a terrible human, Prince Charming gets 2 death sentences, plus 4 life sentences, plus 81 years, plus $1,000, plus a restraining order. You love to see it. 21. Eris. Bow down to the goddess of chaos herself, Eris. This goddess is basically that friend who's so bored they'll suggest anything, even if it's sending a kraken to wreck your cruise ship. She's not after money or power. She's just here for the sheer LOLs. She makes a deal with Sinbad, then immediately ghosts him, not just breaking a promise, but committing full-on identity theft and grand larceny. She steals the freaking Book of Peace, plunging an entire city into darkness. That's not just petty theft, that's divine-level terrorism, people. She's kidnapping, she's coercing, she's trying to off everyone with giant birds and sexy sirens. Seriously, how many attempted murders can one goddess rack up? Her master plan? To watch a peaceful kingdom burn just because she thought it'd be good. And the worst part? She gets away with it. Sinbad passes her test. She gives a casual shrug, tosses the book back, and pieces out to mess up someone else's day. For being the ultimate chaotic neutral, Eris is getting hit with 3 death sentences, plus 2 life sentences, plus 82.25 years, plus a $175,000 fine. Too bad no jail can hold this Queen of Anarchy. Shrek's chaos is her brand, Shrek's goddess goals. 20. Rumpelstiltskin. Hold up, before you say his name, did you read the fine print? Because we're talking about Rumpelstiltskin, the king of sketchy contracts and the ultimate grudge holder. This dude was living his best villain life until Shrek messed it all up. And what does Rumpel do? He spends years stewing in a swamp witch trailer park, plotting his revenge. He catches Shrek at his absolute weakest, a midlife crisis at a baby's birthday party, and offers him a deal. One day of being a fearsome ogre again for a day from his childhood. Sounds harmless, right? Wrong. With one shaky signature, Shrek is erased from existence. That's not just magical fraud, that's reality bending, dystopian creating mayhem. Rumpel becomes king, rocking some questionable wigs and leading an army of witch assassins. He's guilty of regicide. Bye-bye, king and queen. 43 counts of false imprisonment and a couple of murder charges because, well, people just disappeared. His reign of terror is ended by true love's kiss because, of course, that's the one thing his contracts can't loophole around. He ends up in a cage, forced to dance for eternity. For his crimes against the fabric of reality, Rumpel gets 2 death sentences, plus 4 life sentences, plus 192 years, plus a fine of $19.99, the price of pure evil, apparently. 19. The Chameleon. Slithering into the courtroom, we have the most insecure sorceress in all of China, the pint-sized psycho, the Chameleon. Everyone laughed at her for being tiny, so instead of, hitting the gym, she decided to steal everyone else's talent. She's a pouty, narcissistic diva who throws a tantrum if the blood moon isn't dramatic enough for her entrance. Talk about an ego trip with no substance. Her main move? 77 counts of grand larceny, literally slurping up kung fu skills with her creepy long tongue. And she doesn't just steal their moves, she traps their souls, adding 77 counts of false imprisonment to her rap sheet. She's a master of disguise, pulling off 2 major counts of identity fraud. And she's even corrupting the youth, getting some poor fox named Jen to do her dirty work. That's delinquency of a minor right there. Her reign of terror includes arson, extortion, and even murder charges. She wants to be the most feared villain ever, but she refuses to put in the work. In the end, the very person she manipulated turns on her. For being a no-talent hack who resorted to cosmic identity theft, the Chameleon is getting slapped with 4 life sentences plus 2,304 years. Maybe in prison, she can finally learn a skill that's actually her own. Fake it till you make it. 18. Dr. Owen Armstrong. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the baby genius who decided parents are cancelled. Dr. Owen Armstrong. This dude is what happens when you give a toddler 10,000 hours of classical music and a PhD in pure villainy. His origin story is wild. He was a child prodigy who got so smart he just walked out on his parents. Now he runs the Acorn Center for Advanced Childhood, which is basically a boot camp for his baby revolution. On the outside, he's a charismatic genius, but underneath that fuzzy white turtleneck is a delusional megalomaniac with a sugar addiction. This baby is facing 5 counts of murder. Yes, a baby. He's also contributing to the delinquency of minors by teaching his baby army that parents are the enemy. We're talking false imprisonment, animal abuse, and assault here. But his grand plan? Global terrorism via mass brainwashing. He wants to mind control every parent on the planet to create a world ruled by babies. Imagine, no bedtimes, no veggies, just chaos and candy. This little monster even commits privacy law violation and child abuse in his quest for power. For his crimes against parenthood and his plan for a sugar-fueled anarchy, Dr. Armstrong is getting put in timeout for eternity. Death plus 7. Life sentences plus 12.5 years. 17th General Mandible. Attention. We are now in the presence of the most arrogant insect to ever lead an army. The ant with a god complex, General Stanley Mandible. This dude runs the Queen's army, but he's got some serious issues with anyone not exactly like him. He's basically a war-obsessed, us-vs-them tyrant who thinks the colony would be way better if he could just wash away the weak. And by weak, he means everyone who isn't a brainwashed soldier. His entire playbook is literally ant-fascism. He kicks off his villain career with a disgusting abuse of power and a truly vile conspiracy to murder, sending loyal soldiers on a one-way ticket to Termite Land. Need info? His go-to is torture. Twice. He even pulls a false imprisonment on Princess Bala just to keep her out of his way. And his master plan? Oh, just a casual act of high treason and attempted genocide. He literally tries to drown the entire worker colony. And the Queen. during a tunnel opening ceremony. That's also attempted regicide. This dude is so far gone, when his second-in-command finally turns on him, Mandible screams, "I am the colony," before charging to his own pathetic death, impaling himself on a root. Talk about a self-own. He preached sacrifice, but only for everyone else. For his never-ending list of war crimes and being an ultimate megalomaniac, General Mandible is getting hit with 4 death sentences, plus 2 life sentences, plus 4 years. Case closed. 16th Professor Rupert Marmalade IV. Let's give a nice, warm, and completely fake round of applause for the philanthropist who is actually a full-blown psychopath, the good-doing guinea pig who is secretly the baddest of them all, Professor Rupert Marmalade IV. This fluffy little fiend is the king of manipulation. He built this whole nice guy, Nobel Prize-winning persona, but it was just a giant smokescreen for his real goal, becoming the most notorious criminal mastermind ever. He's selfish, greedy, and straight-up evil, all wrapped in a cute, cuddly package. His crime spree is pure evil genius. It kicks off with some simple ID fraud where he disguises himself as a helpless old lady to mess with Mr. Wolf's head. Then he masterfully pulls off the perfect framing of the bad guys, stealing a powerful meteorite and blaming them. This leads to an insane 2,020 counts of thievery and robbing, as he uses the meteorite to hypnotize an army of guinea pigs to steal millions in charity money. That's hacking and terrorism on a whole new level. His rap sheet is staggering. 9 counts of assault, 2 counts of false imprisonment, unauthorized construction, and a spine-chilling 8 counts of attempted murder. He's so utterly treacherous, he's willing to let Mr. Snake fall to his death just to escape. This guinea pig is a backstabbing, manipulative genius who finally gets what's coming to him when he's outsmarted by the very crew he framed. For his lifetime of lies and his monumentally evil scheme, Professor Marmalade is getting the book thrown at him. Death plus 8, life sentences plus 743.83 years plus $205,000. Enjoy your tiny prison cell, you fuzzy monster. 15. Pety the Cat. From the pages of a comic book to the big screen, it's the world's most evil cat, who's secretly a big softie, Pety. This dude is the ultimate arch nemesis, a criminal mastermind whose entire life revolves around trying to beat Dogman and take over the world. He's a genius inventor, but he uses his brain for evil, building giant city-smashing robots, which scores him multiple charges for possessing illegal weapons and 6 counts of spectacular terrorism. His criminal career is a non-stop whirlwind of reckless driving and constantly fleeing police. This cat has been in and out of jail more times than I can count, racking up 6 charges for escaping prison. But here's the real tea. Pety isn't just evil for kicks. This cat is traumatized. His whole villain arc is a massive, destructive cry for help. He got betrayed by his friends in the Critter Scouts as a kitten, and his own dad was abusive. Oof! So, he poured all that pain and anger into a life of crime, constantly pulling off acts of reckless endangerment just to get some attention. He's nasty, a total tease, and a master of epic one-liners, but deep down, he was just a lonely cat who needed a friend. He eventually finds redemption through the love of his clone son, Lil Pety, proving even the baddest cats can change. But before his big change of heart, this dude was a one-cat crime wave. For his long and legendary history of mayhem, the court sentences Pety to 6 death sentences, plus 74 years, plus $1,003,500, and a permanent revocation of his driver's license. Bye-bye license. 14th Dave. Behold, the most gloriously petty villain in the history of animation, the octopus with a vendetta, Dave. This 8-legged menace was once the star of the Central Park Zoo, adored by everyone. But then the penguins showed up, and with their sickeningly, unbearably cute faces, they stole his spotlight. So Dave dedicated his entire existence to a revenge plot so extra, so unhinged, it actually loops back around to pure genius. He breaks out of captivity and reinvents himself as a human scientist, Dr. Octavius Brine. That's ID fraud. He builds a criminal empire from scratch, complete with a purple submarine and an army of loyal octopi. He whips up the Medusa serum, a deadly chemical designed to turn all the cute penguins into hideous, disfigured monsters. This global temper tantrum involves a staggering 171 counts of kidnapping and over 17 billion counts of false imprisonment. He's border hopping like it's a game, racking up charges for illegal border hop, theft, and trespassing. He commits cybercrime to hack the North Wind, the super secret animal spy agency, and has 3 counts of illegal manufacturing for his monster juice. But the grand finale is a full-blown attempted genocide against an entire species, resulting in 177 counts of assault and mutilation, all because he wasn't the cutest one at the zoo anymore. This is a level of vindictive pettiness other villains only dream of. He's a theatrical, goofy, and shockingly effective monster who gets his just desserts by being shrunk and trapped in a snow globe, shaken around by a little girl who thinks he's a toy. For his crimes against penguin kind and his monumental saltiness, the court sentences Dave to death +7, life sentences +2,469.5 years +$140,000. Never has a villain been so wrong for all the right reasons. 13th General Kai. Hold up. Is that the dude who's been hitting the spiritual gym for 500 years? Yeah, it's General Kai, the walking, talking mountain of muscle and grudges. This dude is what happens when your super swole gym bro gets cosmic powers and decides sharing is for losers. He was chilling with Oogway, found some chill pandas, and instead of learning to share his chi, he's like, nah, I'ma just take all of it. Boom, banished to the spirit realm for half a millennium. And what does he do? Learn his lesson? Heck no! He starts collecting Kung Fu masters like they're limited edition action figures. His grand return? An absolute soul-sucking rampage. He literally steals Tailong's chi, turning him into a jade zombie. That's not just murder, that's straight-up identity theft of the spirit. He racks up 10 murder charges before he even sets foot back on Earth. And then he unleashes his zombies. Jade zombies. That's not just false imprisonment, that's disrespectful as heck. This dude rolls in like a war crime tornado, flattening the Jade Palace with its own statue. Property destruction. Much. He assaults Shifu and the Furious Five like it's a Tuesday. Kai is a walking, talking ego trip, so obsessed with his own ridiculously long titles that he can't handle it when you don't use them. But guess what? Po, the chubby panda legend, stuffs him with so much chai that he literally explodes in a flash of golden light. All that power he wanted. Too much to handle, buddy. For his 500-year tantrum, the court's like, nah, we're done with you, bro. Hitting him with death, plus 10 life sentences, plus 102 years, plus a $100,002,000 fine. Skadoosh. 12th, Grimmel the Grizzly. Meet the man who single-handedly made an entire species go extinct. Grimmel the Grizzly. This isn't just some dude hunting dragons for kicks. This is a cold, calculating psychopath who thinks dragons are basically giant, flying cockroaches. He's the OG Night Fury hunter, pushing Toothless's family to the brink of extinction. And his methods? Pure evil genius. He's guilty of extreme animal cruelty, turning his death grippers into drugged-up, venom-spitting slaves. That's not a partnership. That's straight-up enslavement. He's a master of poaching and racks up 8 counts of kidnapping and imprisonment by snatching the Light Fury as bait for Toothless. His whole campaign against the Vikings is a masterclass in threats and terrorism. And you know he's sitting on a mountain of murder charges for every Night Fury he's ever iced. He even uses extortion on the warlords and then throws venom-tipped arrows around like confetti. Grimmel is a total tactical mastermind, getting inside his prey's head. But his biggest weakness, his own massive arrogance. He just cannot, for the life of him, understand the bond between a human and a dragon. And that's what ultimately sends him spiraling to his doom for making an entire species disappear and committing crimes against all dragonkind. Grimmel the Grizzly is sentenced to death, plus 14 life sentences, plus 68.5 years plus a $355,000 fine. Hope you enjoy your permanent vacation, Grimmel, because you're never hunting again. 11th Queen Barb. Turn it up to 11 and prepare to rock, because entering the courtroom is the Queen of Shred, the dictator of distortion, the one and only Queen Barb. This mohawked menace of the rock trolls has a serious beef with any music that isn't loud, and rockin', especially that glittery, happy pop nonsense. So what's her genius plan? Unite all trolls under one music, hers, by destroying everything else. Her One Nation Under Rock World Tour? That's not a concert, people. That's a straight-up campaign of cultural annihilation, war crimes on a global scale. She commits herbicide 3 times over, crashing her battle sub into the techno trolls rave, wrecking the classical trolls symphony, and probably turning the country trolls hoedown into a mosh pit. Her quest for the 6 magical strings, a crime spree of epic proportions. She's guilty of 5 counts of grand larceny for stealing the very essence of other trolls' music. Over 500 trolls taken prisoner, that's a massive charge of false imprisonment. She uses conspiracy and extortion like a rock star uses pyrotechnics, and she's got 7 murder charges under her studded belt. And her ultimate weapon, a guitar chord so powerful it turns other trolls into mindless rock zombies. That's not just assault, that's straight up mind control. All because she thinks her music is the only one that matters. Talk about a rock and roll ego trip. She only sees the light when she realizes music comes from the heart, not some magic string. For her destructive world tour and her crimes against musical diversity, Queen Barb gets 3 death sentences plus 7 life sentences plus 2,132 years. That's a long time to be off the charts, Barb. 10. Drago Bloodfist. If you hear a roar and see some dude rocking a dragon skin cape, I'm telling you, just run. It's Drago Bloodfist, the psycho who wants to conquer the world by putting dragons in chains. Even Stoic the Vast, a total Viking boss, said this dude can't be reasoned with, and holy moly, he was right. Drago's crimes are nightmare fuel, a non-stop rampage of pain and domination. He's got 3 counts of regicide and a super spooky charge of Holotha murder, which basically means he killed a lot of people. His treatment of dragons? Pure animal cruelty. He breaks their spirits and turns them into living weapons. His entire military campaign is a textbook example of war crimes and straight up assault. And get this, he uses a colossal, mind-controlling bewilderbeast to force Toothless, our beloved Night Fury, to kill his own rider's dad, Stoic. That's like a super villain Hall of Fame move right there. He's a total hypocrite, claiming to free mankind while building an army to enslave. But his biggest weakness? He just couldn't understand the power of love between a human and a dragon. And that's what brought him down, baby. For his reign of terror and for breaking all of our hearts, Drago Bloodfist is sentenced to 5 death sentences plus 10 life sentences plus 2 years. There's no reasoning with that kind of sentence. 9. Big Jack Horner. Step right up and meet the biggest, baddest baker in the business, Big Jack Horner. This dude is like peak I didn't get enough attention as a kid. His whole villain origin story, his nursery rhyme wasn't as cool as Pinocchio's. The horror. So, what does he do? Decides to become a crime boss with a magical Mary Poppins bag of doom. This dude literally collects horns from baby unicorns. That's like 53 counts of animal cruelty right there, folks. And don't even get me started on the 22 murder charges. He straight up uses his own baker's dozen henchmen as a literal human bridge and doesn't even flinch when they plummet to their deaths. Oh, and turning a serpent sister into a gold statue just for reciting his dumb rhyme. Savage. His own conscience, the ethical bug, calls him an irredeemable monster, and he's like, "What took you so long, idiot?" This man is living his best villain life. For being a cruel, sadistic, and utterly irredeemable monster powered by pure, uncut pettiness, Big Jack Horner gets 22 life sentences plus 254 years. Hope you like prison food, Jack, because you ain't getting any more pies. 8. The Toad. From the opulent halls of Buckingham Palace straight down to the grimy sewers of London, it's the one, the only, the Toad. This dude was living the high life as Prince Charles's pampered pet until he got replaced by a freaking rat. And what does a pampered toad do when he gets flushed? He develops a deep, insane, rodent-hating vendetta. He sets himself up as the mob boss of the underworld, but his hustle isn't drugs or gambling, it's mass rat genocide. His lair is decorated with his frozen enemies, which means he's racking up 20 counts of second-degree murder. He orders the kidnapping of Roddy and Rita, and when his own rat henchmen mess up, he freezes them too. That's 2 more counts of attempted murder. Oh, and let's not forget the creepy factor. 3 charges of sexual assault through his French cousin, Lefrog. Yikes. He wants to unleash a tsunami of human waste during the World Cup final to wipe out all of Retropolis, just so his tadpole children can repopulate the sewer. He even tells them about their deddy-weddy in a cute baby voice. This guy is a sophisticated, vengeful, and completely unhinged monster. For his crimes against rodent kind and his plan to create a literal poop apocalypse, the Toad is sentenced to death plus 23 life sentences plus 51.5 years and a $256,000 fine. Get flushed, loser. 7. Velvet and Veneer. Get ready for the pop duo that's all flash, all fraud, and absolutely no talent. The Milli Vanilli of Mount Rageous, the one, the only, Velvet and Veneer. These 2 phonies are famous pop stars, but trust me, when they open their mouths, it sounds like a cat fight in a garbage can. They've got Floyd from the legendary boy band Brozone trapped in a diamond perfume bottle, literally sucking the talent and life force out of him to fuel their careers. That's false imprisonment and torture, 12 counts of it, on a magical musical level. Velvet is the pure evil mastermind, a narcissistic diva who treats her own brother like a puppet, and Veneer is her spineless little accomplice, desperate for a crumb of her approval. Their rap sheet includes forgery for faking a letter, illegal exotic pet ownership, Floyd ain't a pet, multiple labor law violations with their poor assistant Crimp, assault, careless driving, and then they go and kidnap the other Brozone brothers. Oh, and of course, they commit tax evasion, because what's a supervillain without a little financial fraud, right? And when their plan starts to unravel, Velvet goes straight for attempted murder. They are the living embodiment of toxic fame, 2 talentless hacks willing to drain the soul out of a person just to stay on the charts. For their crimes against music, family, and basic human decency, Velvet and Veneer are getting hit with 10 death sentences, plus 4 life sentences, plus 36.25 years, plus a $12,798,364 fine. And they're getting points off their license. You get what you deserve? Frauds? 6. Hal Stewart, Titan. Here he is, the nerd who got superpowers and immediately became the worst person ever. Hal Stewart, aka Titan. This dude is a walking, talking cautionary tale about what happens when you give godlike powers to a creepy, obsessed fanboy. Megamind, a literal supervillain, tried to make a hero, and he accidentally picked this guy. Hal gets powers and immediately uses them to become a super stalker. His first heroic act? Kidnapping and reckless endangerment, dropping Roxanne Ritchie from the sky just to rescue her. When she rightly rejects him, he doesn't self-reflect. Nah, he snaps. He goes on a rampage of theft, burglary, battery, and citywide terrorism, burning Titanville into the ground. The property destruction this dude causes is insane, way worse than anything Megamind ever did. And why? Not for power, not for wealth, but out of pure pathetic spite, because a girl didn't want to date him. He racks up 5 murder charges and is so evil that even Megamind, the villain who created him, is disgusted. He's a cowardly, unstable, and vengeful monster born from rejection. Hal Stewart is sentenced to 5 life sentences plus 78 years, plus a mind-boggling $1,003,052,250 fine. Enjoy your new home in Megamind's old jail cell, you absolute loser. 5. The Spiny Mandrilla. Prepare to face the king of the jungle, the apex predator of your nightmares, the Spiny Mandrilla. This thing is a monstrous hybrid of a gorilla, a mandrill, and a spiny echidna. This beast rules its domain through sheer terror. It has enslaved an entire colony of punch monkeys, forcing them into a system of false imprisonment and harassment, where their only job is to bring it bananas. And what happens if they fail to meet their banana quota? It eats them! That's 28 murder charges on his record, and it's cannibalism to boot. This creature is a gluttonous, bloodthirsty monster that takes genuine pleasure in killing anything in its way. When Grug, Phil, and Guy get in its path, it immediately adds 3 counts of kidnapping and 2 counts of assault to its resume. The chase scene that follows is reckless endangerment on a prehistoric scale. The Spiny Mandrilla is simply a monster, an egotistical, selfish beast that sees the entire world as its personal buffet. For its reign of terror and its truly staggering body count, the Spiny Mandrilla is sentenced to 28 life sentences plus 38 years. 1 life sentence for every innocent monkey that ended up in its stomach. May it fall to its death. Oh wait, it did. Perfect. Get wrecked, Mandrilla. 4. Galaxar. From the flaming wreckage of his own home planet, it's the four-eyed, ego-tripping squid thing, Galaxar. This dude is a one-man wrecking ball with motivations so petty they make my ex look reasonable. You ask him why he committed his first act of genocide by blowing up his own planet, and he mumbles something about a bad day at home and an argument with his wife. Are you kidding me? You wiped out your entire species because you couldn't get a coffee. This guy is so unbelievably extra. He put himself on ice just to wake up and ruin someone else's planet for a change of scenery. He sets his sights on Earth, starting with terrorism and massive property destruction via his robot probes. Then he shows up in person and commits kidnapping, snatching Ginormica right off the battlefield. He then goes full supervillain, committing grand larceny by sucking all the quantonium out of her body, just to make a bunch of clones of himself, because the only thing better than one Galaxar is an army of them, I guess. He racks up 2 counts of assault and 3 murder charges along the way, but his ultimate goal? Omnicide. He wants to destroy all life on Earth and repopulate it with his creepy mini-maze. This guy is a totalitarian despot with a god complex and 0 social skills. His reign of terror ends when his own ship blows up with him inside. Talk about a self-destruct button. For his crimes against, well, everyone, Galaxar gets slapped with 4 death sentences, plus 3 life sentences, plus 33.25 years, plus a fine of $3 billion. Good riddance, you salty cephalopod. 1. Smek. 3rd Megamind. Get ready for the master of mischievous mayhem, the blue-headed bad boy with a heart of gold, eventually. Megamind. This guy is the definition of a tragic villain. He's a super genius who was raised by criminals in a prison, while his lifelong rival, Metro Man, was raised by a loving, wealthy family. He was literally destined for villainy, and for years he played the part with more style, flair, and pyrotechnics than anyone in the game. His list of prior charges is longer than his cape. We're talking ID fraud, constant kidnapping of poor Roxanne Ritchie, and even a first-degree murder charge for killing Metro Man, which turned out to be the ultimate fake-out. This blue-headed baddie is an expert thief and master of grand larceny and bank robbery. His battles with Metro Man resulted in city-wide vandalism and property destruction on a scale that would make insurance companies weep. His public announcements were acts of pure terrorism, and his lairs were filled with victims of false imprisonment. He's got assault, battery, sexual assault, those creepy disguises, man, and countless criminal threats on his record. And let's not forget his specialty, escaping lawful custody with spectacular showmanship. But here's the hilarious part. He was never really evil. When he finally defeated his nemesis, he fell into a deep depression. He was a villain who needed a hero. His crimes were epic, but his heart just wasn't in it. For his legendary, albeit performative, reign of terror, the court sentences Megamind to a staggering 88 life sentences, plus 246 years, plus $15,002,000. Even in sentencing, he's an overachiever. Second Pitch Black. Turn down the lights and check under your bed, because the Nightmare King, the Sultan of Shadows, the one and only boogeyman, Pitch Black, is in the house. This dude is literally made of fear, and let me tell you, he is salty. For eons, he was the king of creep, the master of making kids wet their pants. But then, these do-gooder guardians, Santa, the Tooth Fairy, the Bunny, and the Sandman, showed up with their sunshine and rainbows, and suddenly, nobody was afraid of the dark anymore. Pitch got ghosted, left to stew in his own shadowy resentment. So what's his comeback plan? Pure evil genius. Destroy the Guardians by destroying kids' belief. He kicks it off with a massive kidnapping and false imprisonment of over 5,000 of the Tooth Fairy's little helpers. That's just messed up, man. But he doesn't stop there. He straight up commits torture and murder on the Sandman, turning a being of pure dreams into a nightmare buffet. He even tries some sinister coercion and emotional manipulation on Jack Frost, trying to lure the lonely winter spirit to the dark side. This dude is a certified sadist, getting off on turning sweet dreams into pure terror. He's a master manipulator, a purveyor of despair, and a cold-hearted fiend who almost snuffed out all the good in the world, all because he felt left out. For his his truly heinous crimes against childhood itself, Pitch Black gets a sentence as dark as his soul. Death +5, life sentences +50,000, and 3 years. Enjoy eternity in the shadows, you creepy, jealous boogeyman. 1. Smek. And now, for the grand finale. Brace yourselves for the most laughably incompetent, arrogantly clueless, and criminally catastrophic leader in the entire friggin' galaxy. Give it up for the one, the only Captain Smek. This guy is the fearless leader of the Boov, a species whose entire existence revolves around being awesome at running away. And Smeek? He's their undisputed champion. He leads from the rear, cowering behind his own people, which is just peak leadership, right? His intergalactic crime spree kicked off when he was invited to a peace meeting with the Gorg. Instead of, peace, Smek committed an act of epic, grand larceny. He stole their sacred rock, which he adorably named the Shusha. Except, plot twist, it wasn't a rock. It was the egg containing the entire next generation of the Gorg. One act of idiotic theft, and boom, intergalactic war. Planets getting exploded like popcorn. Then, fleeing from the cosmic mess he created, Smek decides to invade Earth. His brilliant plan, mass kidnapping every single human on the planet and forcibly relocating them to Australia to enjoy the frozen, sweetened, bovine secretion. That's planetary scale terrorism and a privacy law violation so massive it broke the internet. He ruled his own people with fear and by whacking them with his stolen egg rock, racking up charges for assault and even a murder charge. This dude is a bumbling, self-centered, manipulative disaster who only cares about his own hide. For his staggering incompetence and universe-shattering crimes, Captain Smek gets the most insane sentence we've ever slapped down. Death plus life plus 567,826,075 years plus a $5 billion fine. Now shush and go to your room, you galactic doofus.